Copano Rickey is the best dirt runner in the game, and if you want to build her to be able to compete in the upcoming Virgo Cup, I'll break down exactly how to do it. I'll be going over the skills she needs, what support cards to take, and the parents to make for her, and hopefully by the end you'll have everything you need to be able to make your own truly sensational Rickey. So let's start with the obvious, and that would be the 6 skills that she needs to maximize her unique. Let's take a step back and take a look at the green skills that she needs in the Virgo Cup, and they are right-handed, full runner, race course, standard distance, sunny days, and wet conditions. Rickey comes with 3 or 2 if you're going to build her as a front runner, and they are strong steps, collaborative graded races, and if you want it, pace chaser savvy. If we're running her as a front runner, then we can obviously replace pace chaser savvy with front runner savvy, and there is also a new green that was added to the game with the recent update, and that skill is called Muddy. So the best 6 greens to take in terms of speed and power would be right-handed, full runner, wet conditions, muddy, strong steps, and graded races. But the easiest 6 to obtain throughout the scenario and using parents would be right-handed, full runner, front runner savvy, strong steps, and graded races. So now we've identified which 6 skills we want to aim for, let's start talking about the support deck. But before we do that, let's talk about this race in particular that we're training for. The stat requirements that we'll probably want to aim for is going to be 1500 and more speed. Hopefully you've maxed it out to 1600. At least 800 to 900 to even as high as 950 stamina with a gold heal, 1200 on more power, 600 guts, and 1100 and more wit. As she does not have a growth in speed, we are likely to take 3 speed cards. Those 3 speed cards being Citizen Black, Marazensky, and Agnes Tachyon. If you do not have either of those 3, you can just substitute them with the best cards that you've got in your account. I would argue that the best card to borrow if you have none of those 3 would be Marazensky, because she gives us a very good front runner skill. When it comes to wit cards, the must-have obvious choice if you're running her as a front runner is going to be Mihono Bourbon Wit, because she gives us taking the lead. He can also give us concentration at the end of the scenario, and obviously with Light Hello we can get gold playtimes over, which is called See You Later. If you run this deck of 3 speed, Light Hello, Super Greek, and Mihono Bourbon, then you're probably wondering, where is my wit going to come from? There's an argument to be made that you can drop Light Hello for a second wit card. I know it's not the ideal, but I would rather drop Light Hello for her utility within the scenario at the chance of getting upwards of 1000 wit. If you plan to drop Light Hello and you're running a second wit card, then I would just use the best wit card you've got available. Typically most players now have fine motion. I would use CB Wit because I don't have fine motion. I could just borrow her, but I'm of the opinion that for the speed cards, I would want all 3 cards to be max limit broken. I think that you could be able to do it with LB1, Marazensky, and MLB, Tachyon, and Citizen Black. But if you're trying to high roll it with 2 cards, I would argue that both cards need to be MLB. And if you're going to do it with 2 cards, I would potentially drop Agnes Tachyon, because she does not give us a skill that we want as a front runner on Rickey. If you're running her as a pace chaser, you can just drop Marazensky. Marazensky's gold skill is for front runners, and Tachyon's gold skill is for pace chasers. If you're thinking about removing Light Hello, then you would need to get wet conditions or front runner savvy or any of the other greens to make up for the lack of front runner savvy or pace chaser savvy that Light Hello gives you at the end of the junior year. So with that said, let's start moving on to the parents that we would want for Rickey. In terms of front runners, everyone who's ever ran a front runner will know that angling and scheming, the unique from Saiyan Sky, is the best skill for front runners. That means that she is a mandatory parent for any front runner that we make. That then leaves her grandparents to be any one of these particular Umas that I like to use for front runners. One of them is Summer Marizensky and get It's for Courage. The other two are Valentine Mahono Bourbon for Operation Cacao and New Year TM Opera O for Bar Carol of Blessings. If you've already got a grandparent of those three Umas, you can take that one and maybe find a borrow of the other two that are there. If there's one that you like, then you can use that to create a Saiyan Sky parent. The other parent on the other side could be a combination of the other three. If you have a grandparent Bourbon, for example, you could borrow a Marizensky or a TM Opera O and take the third option as a parent, or you could take what you have available. If you're someone that only has TM Opera O and you don't have Bourbon or Marizensky, then you borrow one of those two and you make TM Opera O your parent. If you have a Sousa card that's a very good grandparent or a Mino, then you can obviously use them as they're the best available that you have. And obviously we want to lessen the time it takes to build these parents. So if you've got something good, use that. If not, then we'll have to start from scratch. And these four Umas specifically are the best Umas that have the best skills for Rickey in particular, especially as a front runner. So now we've worked out what uniques we want, we can now start thinking about what sparks to hunt down when we make our parents and grandparents. We've obviously got the 6 green skills that we're looking for, and we can add 1 or 2 more to the list if we want to be a bit safe when it comes to getting them on the inheritance event. But we're going to need more than that. So the white skills that I recommend are front runner, corners and straights, and medium corners and straights. As a front runner, we're obviously going to want to get groundwork, as well as dodging danger, prudent positioning, and ignited spirit wit. And also for the late race, we are going to want racing spirit stamina. We can also aim to get racing spirit power or speed, forget which one it is, but one of them is a approaching the late race skill, so get that one. If we're not running light hello, then we need to get playtime's over. We should aim for playtime's over anyway, but if you can't get it off light hello, then we'll need the white skill on our parents to get that as well. Held high is also a very good skill to get, as well as ramp up if we're in second and need to take the lead at the midway point of the race. Other skills we might want to hunt down when we do our parents is up tempo and fast pace. Another spark that could be vitally important to get is a skill called Got the Spirit. It's an acceleration skill that's the white version of a gold skill called Be the Center. Be the Center is a skill that only appears on Smart Falcon, the new version that comes out with Grand Live. The white spark exists in the game currently, and it's only obtainable by winning dirt races in Track Blazer. At least to my knowledge it is anyway. If we're lucky, there's someone who has this spark already and has it as a borrow for us to use for great grandparents and then looped into grandparents and then later on into a parent. If we're very lucky, the borrow is considered good enough to be a grandparent, and then we can just use that to get the spark on our parent and then later on Rickey. I should have mentioned this sooner, but for blue sparks we're going to want stamina sparks, and for pinks we're going to want medium. And that pretty much wraps up the video. I've pretty much covered everything I think that you would all need, including myself, to make an amazing Copano Rickey, and hopefully it can win you this Champions meeting coming up after Grand Live releases. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.